Come Scrapbook with me while I talk about Vocaloid Fuiro. Fuiro is a Japanese AI Vocaloid from the Vocaloid 6 engine. She has no canon age and is voiced by Philo, a Japanese singer. We first knew about Fuiro back in the Vocaloid 5 era in 2022. 2022, what am I, 50? 2022. In February of 2022, Nana Music, a Japanese label company, made a Vocaloid contest to find a singer for their upcoming Vocaloid. This was in collaboration with Yamaha, and it was also during the Vocaloid 5 era. And the thing about Vocaloid 5 is that was Vocaloid's flop era. The Vocaloid 5 era ran from 2018 to 2022, and a whopping total of 3 Vocaloids came out at that time: Autonosora and the Mekas. Yamaha had burned every bridge that they had with most companies, so no one was developing for Vocaloid at the time. So while the Nana Music Vocaloid contest was exciting and new, and very different for Vocaloid 5 because Vocaloid 5 just didn't really care, people were cautiously optimistic about this one. The winner was Taki Takota, which was actually Philo using an alias. We didn't have a name or anything for the Nana Music Vocaloid at the time. For the majority of 2022, all we knew was that the Vocaloid contest had happened, and that the Philo Vocaloid was in production. By the end of 2022, Vocaloid 6 had happened. In October of 2022, actually. Vocaloid 6 is by far one of the most interesting eras thus far. Vocaloid 1 was the "we are professional software, please take us seriously" era. V2 was the Miku era. V3 was the "hey, look at how cute our anime characters are" era. V4 was "we have cute anime characters and professional Vocaloids" era. V5 was the "hey, please look at our professional software, we're not anime anymore" era. And V6 is "yeah, we're an anime software, please buy our software" era. In like layman's terms, okay, I'm watering that down a lot. In early 2023, we got a lot of movements with Fuiro. We finally had a name and a silhouette, and she's an AI voice bank. V6 is the first major editor in Vocaloid that has AI. So what does that mean exactly? Because the term AI in general tends to be a negative buzzword. Well, in vocal synth is a good thing. Philo signed a contract. She was paid for her voice and she knew exactly what it was going to be used for: an AI voice bank. And by the time of V6, AI in vocal synth was not new. Vocaloid's main competitors, SynthV and Chevio, had already been utilizing AI for their engines. The difference between AI voice banks and standard voice banks is that AI voice banks are trained on the actual singing samples of the voice provider. Whereas for standard voice banks, the voice provider has to manually record each sound, and then those sounds are spliced together by developers to make words. Yeah, AI skips all of that. That being said, generally speaking, AI voice banks tend to mimic the singing style of their voice providers. AI voice banks on Vocaloid 6 also have access to the function called crosslaying. This means that any AI voice bank on Vocaloid can sing in English, Japanese, or Chinese, which means Fuiro, who's natively Japanese, can sing in Mandarin and English as well. Actually, one of Fuiro's demos was in English. Okay, backing up a bit though. So in April of 2023, that's when we got the news of Fuiro. When she was no longer the Nana Music Vocaloid in production, she was Fuiro. We knew she was an AI voice bank on Vocaloid 6, she was voiced by Philo, and we even had a silhouette for her design. All of that information dropped on the same day that Teto Synth V released. Yup, Fuiro was eclipsed by Kasane Teto. So unfortunately, Fuiro had a kind of a rough start. How are you going to compete with Kasane Teto? Fuiro released in May of 2023 as a Yamaha product. She is download only, unfortunately. When Fuiro first launched, she was actually 50% off, which is really cool considering that most of Yamaha sales were like 5% off. And I'm not exaggerating that, by the way. They'll be like 7% off. Like, that's a big deal. Like, Yamaha. Anyway, that sale is long since over. The general consensus of Fuiro as a Vocaloid she's cool. Like, cool voice, cool design. And that's it. Like, don't get me wrong, she has her fans. But considering the circumstances surrounding her, like Vocaloid 5 and Teto, on top of the fact that it's very difficult for a new Vocaloid to just break into popularity, Fuiro is liked but not used. I'd probably put her a couple pegs above Mew. But when you're competing with the Kasane Teto, you're probably not gonna win. Anyway, I really like Fuiro. I think she's great. I do not own Vocaloid 6, otherwise I would own her. Anyway, Vocaloido!